Hi everyone, this is Maciej Gliwa. I would like to give you a quick update on the development of Vision and just let you know what you can expect in the coming future. Talk a little bit about the status of the project as of today, and just like keep you a little bit more informed because I feel like this year there was like a bit of radio silence for sure, and I'm gonna explain why as well. So for everyone who has very limited amount of time and they don't want to watch me talking about for 10 minutes, I'm gonna start with bullet points, okay, and just give you like a quick rundown of what's happening. So the big news are that there is going to be a new version of Vision. It's gonna be released as of today. The plan, at least, is to release it by the end of March or early April next year. This might change a little bit, but that's kind of what I'm aiming for. And the goal is to have Vision work with Blender 5 or Blender 5.1. That's kind of the goal. And I think the release of Vision will be somewhat synced with the release of Blender 5.1. So end of March, early April, I think that's kind of like the ballpark of what we're talking about. And then what can you expect from Vision? What's new? Well, of course, integration with Blender 5. That's a big one, and the integration with the real-time sequencer that they are adding to Blender 5. That's like really the big kind of takeaway from it. But as well, some other improvements that I'll talk about in this video. So for everyone who only had like a short amount of time, these are the headlines. For anyone else who would like to learn more, stick around, so I'll explain to you everything in a little bit more detail. Okay, so let's go. So current status of Vision. Vision right now is not that different than what it was early this year. So as you know, Vision was released last year. By the end of last year, it had like a little update, I think in January, and since then, that's it. Like not much have happened. So there's a good reason for it, and so it's kind of bad news that Vision is not that different as of today as it was before. But there are good news as well, which is I have been using, among some other artists, I have been using in production for my full-time job, like all the time this year, like all year long. I have been using it, and that has been great because I also can clearly see what works very well in Vision and what doesn't in the context of like the real big production. Vision is a tool really designed for individuals and small teams, but it also is very, very good for big teams and big productions. So if I can make Vision work really well in a difficult production setting of a big project, of course, it's gonna work great on a smaller scope as well. So I gather all that experience. I have a very clear roadmap of what I want to do with Vision. So all that stuff is good news. Again, when it's going to be released? March, April 2026. And the reason that I have that date also is I need about 3-4 months, I estimate, to implement all the improvements that I have in my mind. And I will be jumping almost full time starting next month on the project of further development of Vision. So things will happen in the coming 4 months, okay? I'm kind of really coming back to the development of it. It's about time. Now, again, the big reason why I want to develop that version of Vision, of course, is because it needs improvements, but the Blender 5 is a big part of it. Blender 5 will come with reworked sequencer that allows to put clips on the timeline. They're like live clips that direct you to like a scene that is played in real time, and you can have 2 scenes open at the same time to make it kind of work. So this is like a huge improvement in Blender 5 in the context of what I use Blender for, which is storyboarding, previs, this kind of work. So having that implemented natively in Blender 5 is huge because now I can build on top of it. So it is kind of a big deal. Many of you probably have seen me talking about this real-time workflow during my Blender conference in 2024. So some of you might remember me, giving that talk and like showing this. where you have all these like different clips on the in the viewport. So there's like mini like timeline, and all the clips show you like different shots, kind of like one after another, like a cut, like an edit. So I was developing my own real-time editing system that would work with Vision, and I took it quite far. I would say it was maybe 75% done, with a lot of great ideas how to streamline stuff that is going to be very unique to Vision. But I learned around that time that the sequencer will be reworked, and that Blender will natively bring this like real-time editing to Blender. And I decided to put the development of this real-time timeline on hold, and I just wanted to see what Blender is gonna do with it, because as a developer, you don't want to develop something that Blender will develop on their own natively, because it's kind of like a no-no. You want to work with what Blender already has and build on top of it and add stuff that Blender doesn't have or not gonna have, right? So, and many people actually ask me about like, hey, where are those like real-time clips? So like, can we use it? So it was never like available in the actual release of Vision. That was available publicly, so you could never access this. So I want you to know that that stuff is not gonna be further developed, but ideas from it will be taken to integrate them with what Blender 5 will have to offer. So in other words, all this will come to you in a different shape and form with all the good ideas I had for it. And it will just work with native Blender, which is better in general. So I hope that makes sense. So going back to my presentation, also because Blender 5 brings improvements, it has Vulkan and all that stuff. So by the time of Blender 5.1, I believe Blender will be much more solid, much more stable, much faster. So all the good stuff that you want. And we will have, I think, better fleshed out Blender, Grease Pencil 3, which in current version 4.3 and 4.4 of Blender, which you can use Vision for, that Grease Pencil is not really 100% fully fleshed out. There are some bugs and so on. So having that really figured out properly in Blender 5.1 is going to be great for Vision as well. Also, what else you can expect? Export import improvements. Right now you can export via XML, but that's about it. So I planned better workflows for exporting from Vision via XML and also via OTIO. And the overall plan for this is to make it really robust working with DaVinci Resolve. There's a very good reason for that, like why I want to focus on DaVinci instead of like, Premiere or like Final Cut Pro or something like that. The reason why I want to use DaVinci is because I like DaVinci better than all the other editing software. So that's a big factor. But also DaVinci seems to be like a really great hub that you can export your footage to, and it can serve as like this middle way stop to push it down the line to other editing software, like for example Avid, which is known to be a little bit tricky. If you want to like export straight to Avid, it's not that easy to do, but DaVinci has an exporter for that. So what you would be able to do is export your stuff to DaVinci, and via DaVinci export it to Avid if Avid is something that you use in your production, which many big productions do use Avid, right? Because some of the best editors, they're almost like Avid only. So it is important, right? And so that's going to be our way to make sure that Vision will work with any editing room you might have using whatever software they have. So there will be a workflow for that, okay? And DaVinci will play like a part in it, okay? So that's gonna be definitely a focus to add stuff to Vision, okay? Then rendering improvements. So the way I see Vision working in the context of Blender 5 has to offer is that we want to marry two different workflows and ideas. Vision as of now works with Playblast, meaning that you have to make a video in order to put it, in your timeline and edit to like cut your sequence together. And there are very many benefits to that. It doesn't work real time yet. And this is what Blender 5 is going to give us, the really nice real-time workflow. So my idea is that you'll be able to have both at the same time. So if you want videos on some clips, you can have those. If you want to have some clips live, you can have those live. If you want to convert those to videos, you will be able to do that. So just marry the two workflows. I'm not going to go in depth how I want to do this, but there's a very clear path to that and how I want this to work for myself. And I think it's going to be really beneficial to like everybody. And it will open the door for many different workflows. It's not going to force you to work just one way or the other. You'll be able to find your own way of working that might be similar to maybe Storyboard Pro or something similar that you would do in Maya doing Previs. So all the options will be available to you. And to make all that possible, we need more improvements to Vision in terms of rendering. So now that we look at the slide, we'll have to be able to render multiple shots at once, so imagine that you have like a bunch of shots that you want to render or re-render. You just can select them and edit and just click a button, go make your coffee, and you're gonna have those renders done, with like one click instead of like rendering one at a time. Ability to cancel would be definitely nice, cancel the render. And the reason why this is not quite implemented as of now is because we're using animation renders, which are not like the proper renders that Blender offers, and that is a little bit trickier to like implement like a cancel mechanism, but I think I know how to do this now. So that should be implemented. Then a progress bar would be nice, and of course supporting all kinds of rendering. So not just animation render, aka Playblast, but also like a proper Eevee rendering, maybe cycles, even maybe Workbench if you need to, for whatever reason. Just ability to render whatever you want. Support for that would be really nice. So I would like to add it to Vision as well. Then easier shot management, duplicating scenes, duplicating shots, breaking out shots into individual scenes, better control what is visible per shot, and so on. So there's like really a lot to unpack in here. So those are just like some 3 items, but I could easily add like gazillion more just on this one slide of things that need to be improved. But just overall management of what's where, what belongs to what's visible, what's not visible, and when, this kind of stuff. Vision already gives you some solution to this kind of problems, but of keeping your scene kind of tidy, organized, so you're not kind of drowning in outliner, turning things on and off, but it could do a better job than what it has to offer currently. So it can be improved, and that's where my experience really helps. The fact that I have been using Vision all year long this year, it really allowed me to see like, oh yeah, in this case this works great, but in that case it doesn't. So I'm gonna definitely build on that experience and use it to further develop Vision. So I think all the good stuff here. Now, another thing that is very, very exciting to me is just implementing Blender or integrating Blender with Photoshop and Krita. So, you can open Photoshop from Blender and kind of connect the two already. But through like a lot of experimentations, I found a lot of interesting workflows that currently are somewhat manual and could be automated. So the goal is to make that integration of two programs really seamless and automate like a lot of different things, because I found that using 2D cards can be so fast, so dynamic, so creatively fulfilling as well. Sometimes you want like a 3D asset, you want to model something, and so on, but sometimes you can be so impactful and quick with 2D cards, and that workflow of using 2D cards is something that is really important to me. So I'm gonna spend some time making sure that I make it kind of great. And I think this is like good news for storyboard artists, but I think this is also good news for like anyone who does concept art, use Blender for concepting. I think you're gonna really love what this will bring to the table. And then of course, Wiki needs to be improved. It's always hard to do this, because there's only this much you can do with the time you have. But I find that Wiki is gonna be essential to make Vision accessible to people. So even if you if you bought Vision, you still need to learn some stuff, and there is an existing wiki. It's not complete. I think it needs more tutorials, more examples, sequences that you can download and explore for yourself. So a lot of the work has to happen here. And I think that in some longer perspective, I imagine there's going to be many artists that will actually share their knowledge and maybe make their own tutorials and share their workflows, how they use Vision. And I can tell you that I have seen some amazing stuff being done in Vision by other artists. As of now, a lot of that stuff that I'm talking about is under NDA. I cannot talk about it again. I cannot show you anything, but I have seen some really jaw-dropping, inspiring stuff, and I can't wait for people to see it. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but yeah, some people do already some crazy stuff with Vision, so it's really exciting. And then developing add-ons like this, the bugs and testing is part of the. It's like it's the nature of the beast. Like you have to deal with those. Bugs will happen. So if you guys find issues, please report them on Discord. I know that sometimes people report bugs and it might look like I'm not doing anything about it, but I just want you to know that I have like a long list of things and issues that have to be fixed. And even if I have not responded maybe to you, I want you to know that I pay attention and I take notice and I write down all those things so they can be eventually fixed. So I think this new update to Vision will come with a lot of fixes. So that's coming too. And I think that is it. I think this video is going to be about 17 minutes long, so not too short, not crazy long, I hope. But I also hope that you got a little bit more clarity of what's going on with Vision. This add-on, even though has not been in development much this year, but it's gonna get a big push. And to be honest, I really feel like that's a good way to do this, because you can kind of lose the track of what's important in like the fog of production, fog of development. You just keep developing and just keep adding features and whatnot, and sometimes you might add stuff that doesn't really matter or is not important or just goes the wrong direction. So again, me having the chance to use Vision and not worry about coding for quite a long time now this year, really, I feel like put the developer's perspective in the right place. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive back in, make that another push. And hopefully I will create a version of Vision that is gonna empower all of you crazy creators and storytellers to make your work a little bit easier so you can really focus on the creative and also have a lot of fun while you're doing so. So a lot of good stuff to come next year. And yeah, thank you for your attention and thank you for your support, and see you next time. Take care. Bye.